Yeah, it's going down, man. It's Donnie Houston Podcast. I'm Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We got a very special guest in the house today, man. Again, man, we talk about these legendary independent labels, man, that came out the city, out the area, man, and just made these impacts. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I just remember my first time hearing it. We're going to get a little history, but I remember my first time hearing it. I remember when Screw died and, you know, it was just a void to be filled. And, of course, Switch House was going. They had everybody that was kind of doing their thing. And then they had this one camp, man, was coming up, man. It was called Beltway Records, man, and right here I got the CEO of that, Mike Moe. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Man, feeling good. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm good. Thank you for having me, brother.
For sure.
Yes,
so what's up with you, man?
Oh, man, just staying busy, you know, kind of stepped away from the music business in a sense.
Yeah.
Start some other adventures and, you know, shoot, still around.
Yeah, got the stuffed baked potato factory going right now?
Yeah, so I got 2 here in Houston. One going to open up sometime in January, 3rd one. And I got one in Mississippi and one going to open up in Tennessee.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, damn. You've been moving with that. Okay. When did you actually start that?
Back in 2011, I decided to, you know, kind of get away from the music business because I kind of, 2004 or 5, I seen the music business going down. So I decided to do something else. So being on the road, you know, cooking for the guys, everybody love my cooking. So I'm like, I leave the music business alone right now. I'm going to do some cooking, and came up with a plan, and it worked.
Yeah, man, for sure. You talking about 2011, man.
Yeah.
And you stayed to state with it. That's what's up, man. Yeah. So let's just go back a little bit with the music, though. I know, are you from Houston?
Yeah, I'm from Third Ward, Kenny Holmes.
Third Ward, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So talk about growing up in, you know, in the trade, man.
So I stayed in Kenny Holmes from I was born to I was 11 years old. Simple life, played marbles outside, you know, ran around with no shirt on, no shoes, just shorts, you know.
Good shit.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Mom and dad was together, and then finally they divorced, and my mom told me at 11 years old I had to be the man. So we moved off Cullen and Scott Street, and I started hustling, pumping gas, picking cans up on the way to school, back from school, knocking on doors, taking out trash, you know, anything to make some money, you know. So, and that's how I, you know, kind of kicked off, you know, as a kid.
Man, okay. So when does the music thing kind of start? Well, you got into sports and stuff first, right?
Yeah, so I played football at Westbury High School. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in Hillcross Square. Once we moved from South Park, Daddy, into Southwest.
So tell me how it is when you get over there to the West, because I mean this is crack era, I would imagine. Like,
well, the crack era hadn't hit yet, so we got over there. We moved from New Orleans. We moved to Southwest. I thought we was rich. You know, the grass is green, trees is green. You know, just good breed. Everybody, you know, chilling. Then all of a sudden, the crack epidemic hit, and when it hit, it was like a bomb went off. You know, so that changed the landscape. So my neighborhood, you know, on the Southwest is pretty, and all of a sudden now it's grimy.
And you at this age, you like what, 13, 14?
13, 14, 15 years old, yeah.
So how you affected? Are you still like focusing on sports, or are you still on some, I need to make some money, they got this new thing going, you know, I'm probably making a little extra money over here?
Well, at that time I'm playing football thinking, you know, I'm playing football just for the girls. And then one day, one of the coaches got fired, and Kenny Houston, Hall of Fame Kenny Houston, opened up a drawer, and there was a bunch of letters for a bunch of black kids like Michael Strahan. They didn't give him the letters, you know. So Ron Frank coming down the hallway, he had a letter from Texas Tech. I'm like, what's that? He said, if you do good in school and play football well, you can get a scholarship. So I'm like, wait a minute, you do what? And he told me again. I'm like, okay, that's my way out the ghetto. So I started transitioning from being the badass kid to the kind, you know, that excelled on the football field and end up, you know, going to school in Iowa.
Yeah. So you get the scholarship off of the Iowa. You know what I mean? How was it going out to Iowa? Because I mean, that's you know, that ain't like the H, man.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
It was different. I mean, but at the time, man, I really wanted to change. So when I got to Iowa, of course, it's snowing. You know, it's cold. You know, so, but I was like, man, I'll be back on the Southwest selling dope. You know, which my OGs would let me do anyway. You know, but that's all we kind of knew. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play ball. So I went up there. I had to walk on because I stayed out a semester. I got a little trouble. And first day of practice, I got a scholarship. And I balled it out.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's when I transferred to Prairie View.
So you transferred to Prairie View. What was the reason for going from Iowa to Prairie View? Just homesick, or?
And I say homesick, just got tired of playing that cold.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my time was up there. So my cousin, he was playing at Jones High School running back, and I was a running back. So he like, cuz it'd be good if you can go to Prairie View. And they were losing, you know. They had
that streak, yeah.
So he like, cuz if we go to Prairie View, you can change, you know, Prairie View. I'm like, okay, I tell you what, I'm gonna go to Prairie View because his mom, my mom are twins. So me and him gonna be in the backfield together, you know, try to make this history run. He ended up going to TSU and had me stuck at Prairie View.
Oh man!
But it was cool though because when I went to Prairie View to visit, I was like, man, this place is a dump. But it was one incident that happened where this kid, football player, asked the coach, "Hey, coach, can I have some of your grapes?" He said, "Yeah, son, get you some grapes." I never experienced that in college up there in Iowa. It's like you were a football number, you ran the ball. If you got hurt, get them out of our drills, next, So Prairie View cared, so it was the best decision I made. So I ended up going to Prairie View because the kid said, "Can I have some grapes?" And the coach gave it to him.
So what year did you land at Prairie View?
96.
96.
96, 97, yeah.
Okay. Are you doing anything with music in between this time? Or this is just straight?
When I was in Iowa, a friend of mine, he had a keyboard. So I just skipped class and, play on the keyboard. So I'm producing, doing a little producing music, whatever the case is. But it wasn't really no rappers up there, So I'm just playing around the keyboard and just, my love and passion for music, go way back, So I did that. So when I got to Prairie View, Screw was going on already.
That's just what I was about to say.
Yeah.
You get to Prairie View 96. This is Screw.
Yes.
This is he's on. This is the prime for me.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
So I was turned on the Screw in 93.
Okay, early.
So I went to Iowa with that. They was like, man, what the fuck is that? Because again, you got regular music, of course, and then you got house music from the guys from Chicago. And
So
stuff,
how you get to Screw in 93? Just around the hood or somebody?
Yeah, when I come home for the summertime, whatever case is, you run across the tape. Didn't know where to get them from, You run across one, you get a dub of it, whatever the case is. So
was you already on it when you got it? Did you get it when you first heard it? Like, yeah, this is our
man, the first Screw tape I ever heard, I don't know if Screw did it or not, but it was a Snoop Dogg album. And I was like, this shit here is crazy. But I mean, I took it. I was like, man, this is it, And I ended up going back to school in Iowa, Christmas holidays. And this kid on the football team stole a tape deck from his gym. And he said, hey, look, a bulldog, if I trade tape decks with you because I stole this from the gym, and I'm looking like, I look at it and I seen that pitch control. I'm like, shit, this motherfucker got a pitch control on it. So I play hardball with him. I say, I tell you what, Tony, give me $75 and I'll trade you. Because my shit, JVC, way better than this shit. So I'm messing with him. And she left out that room. I said, this motherfucker don't know what he just did. So I started making the slow down tapes. During the Christmas time, whatever case, come back home, I was making a killing.
Wait. So what year is this? This is
93, 94.
That early you start slowing tape down.
I was in Jamaica. It was me on one corner of Jamaica in the parking lot across the street where Memphis was, the Boudin man, and then the Weed man. So what we would do is we all swap out each other, I give you a tape, you give me a sweet, you give you a Boudin, I give you a tape, and we did that for a couple of years,
Okay, so when this is going on though, because we always hear about the backlash of this one trying to do my thing, you calling it Screw, because of course you call it Screw because that's what you know it as. This is what we all know it as. You know what I mean? Were you getting any backlash? Were anybody like coming at you like, man, what's up with you with these slow down tapes?
Not all. I mean, to me, I think it was so fresh, and wasn't nobody really just tripping like that. It was just like it was new. Nobody knew where to get it from.
Yeah.
So I got it. And then there was a lot of guys from the north side would come. I used to put my, I emulated everything he did. So I put my phone number on the tape. So the guys on the north side, they meet me at Carol's. Hey man, give me at least 5 different ones.
So are you making you just got mixes, or are you doing personal tapes?
Slow down. I'm just taking the hottest song that come out on a Tuesday, and taking songs from each tape, just slow them down, and set them just like they wasn't no chopped up, nothing. They just wanted to slow down. No, I wasn't no DJ. But I just seen an opportunity to make some money off of it. And people knew I wasn't screwed, It's just the fact that, hey, it's a void, can't nobody get it. They don't want to stand in line at the house or whatever the case is.
But I can get a slow down tape from Mike Mo right here.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't call him Mike, it was just like a... I didn't know nothing about no brand, no record label. No, I'm just hustling.
So you ain't calling it nothing, it's just I got a tape.
I got a slow down tape. That's it, and just hustling. I ain't no Mike Mo tape, none of that kind of stuff. No record label, none of that.
Man, okay, so when you, so when do you leave PV, or when you get to PV, or you got everything going? I mean, if you started way back in Iowa, you still got the slow down tapes going at PV.
So I'm at Prairie View with it,
yeah,
with the tapes, whatever. So, but this time I really kind of stopped and got away from it. Now I'm playing football.
You really focused on
I'm
football.
focused on that stuff, right? So then, I'm buying Swisher House CDs from the barbershop in Prairie View, and then one of my homeboys, he come back from Houston, and he'll make us some dubs of the Screws, right? So I'm buying the Swisher House, and I'm listening to the Swisher House here. I'm like, man, they putting the same songs on, the CDs we buy. I'm like, I can do this shit. So I found me a DJ B Love, and was one of the famous DJs in Prairie View. And I say, hey man, look, if you do this, I can do this. But he was moving too slow. So me and my partner, Sonny Caraway, he's an engineer at Prairie View. He created a program to where we can slow the music down and chop on a computer, which was never done before.
You could chop on the computer too?
Yeah, we did all that. So we were making the shit sound like it was transitioning to 3 different, turntables. So when B Love heard at my record store, he's like, "But y'all got 3 turntables?" I'm like, "Yeah, we got 3 turntables." I'm fucking with him, Whole time it's a computer that we're generating all this shit off of. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. And then the crazy thing too is like, because even now, when PV has always been this thing of like, shit, you can get you a fan base at PV and take over. You know what I mean? Like really make your mark. So are you kind of doing that, like just taking over that whole PV thing?
So what I did was, I'm walking on campus and I heard somebody say 14% of the students at Prairie View are HIV positive. So I'm like, well, who the fuck they, testing with this stuff, whatever the case is. And then it dawned on me, like, wait a minute. I mean, these kids going back home with this shit, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the Beltway virus. So what we did was just accumulate a whole bunch of CDs and dump them in the university. So the kids went home for school break. I say, if my calculation is right, come January, February, we're gonna get a bunch of phone calls from all over the country wanting these CDs. And sure enough, the phone rung, and we created a distribution channel.
So you dropping them off in the dorms or some shit? You just
feeding
them. Oh.
We slipping them out, because we know they double them in the dorm rooms, So now they taking them going home. They doing the same thing everybody else do. Now they making dubs and selling, making money off of it.
Right.
Of course, everybody come to me and say, "Man, let's go whoop these people ass, this, and that." I'm like, "Nah.
Let this cook."
Let it go. Yeah. After a while, it's gonna do what it's supposed to do, and it did.
Man, okay. So you said, how long did you say you gave yourself between? You said it was a Christmas break.
Christmas break. So Christmas out, this was in 99. So Christmas break 99. When 2000 came around, come February, the shit was jumping.
No shit. Okay, yeah. So you say y'all create this distribution thing. Talk about that. Because at the same time too, you got Southwest Wholesale,
right?
And all that. Y'all not going through.
So we don't even know anything about Southwest Wholesale. I got a record store.
This ain't industry shit. This is still you just figuring it out.
I'm just go trial and error. So we sell the CDs out. But first of all, I volunteered to work at a record store to learn how to sell records. I know how to make the music, but I didn't know how to sell the music. So I said, I'm going to volunteer at this record store. So the guy wouldn't let me volunteer at the record store. So then I turned around and I said, okay, I tell you what, let me pay you to work at your record store. He's like, okay. So I gave him the money, and then finally he ended up getting shut out the business, and the owner came to me and said, hey, I see you always working this record store. If you want it, give me X amount of dollars. So I gave it to him, and the rest is history. So what we do, I'm playing our music on the outside of the store. Then this guy named Jaleel Stevenson came by and heard the music, him and Hershey. He's like, man, who made that? I said, we made it. He said, can I, sell them and, become a distributor, sell them, whatever the case is? I ain't knowing. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it like the Dope Gang do, right? So I gave him a 50-pack of CDs. He got bought up to Cleveland, Texas, whatever the case is, turned around, sold out. Brought the money back. I said, okay, I'm gonna give him $100 pack. Gave him $100 pack. He came back, and after that, it was like, shit, we give him 1,000 CDs.
And let him go.
In 4 days, he come back with all the money, So it was popping in.
Okay, so just ballpark figure about how much money are you seeing around this time, just off this when you get into it?
Without even going through Southwest Wholesale or whatever case, I'm probably doing about $15,000 a week. That's no Southwest. That's why I ain't know nothing about Southwest. I ain't need Southwest. I'm making real concrete money.
Yeah. And so okay, when does it evolve? Because now, okay, we done went from you doing tapes. Mm-hmm. Now you got a store with the tapes. When do you start saying, okay, we finna start freestyling, I'm gonna get these guys? How do you meet, start meeting the crew and start putting the camp together?
So what happened? Well, we was already freestyling, early, before even making the tapes, whatever case is, because I had a house in Hockley before I moved back to Prairie View. So guys come over, we get us 40-ounce beers, and start drinking this and just freestyling. Then finally done them again, I'm like, shit, we can sell this, So we started putting the tapes together. So how I came up with the name Beltway was to a guy named Ira Williams. He went to Prairie View. He's in my criminal justice class. So I told Ira, he had his own record label, I forgot the name of it. I said, man, I'm gonna come up with this label. I'm gonna call it 16 Loop. He said, well, how you come up with that? I said, because Screw represents the South Side, and I'm from the South Side. Swish I represent the North Side. And I say, but I know people from all around, and everybody in Prairie View from all around. He said, why don't you call it Beltway? I'm like, yeah, that's it right there.
And the Beltway was new too around that time too. Yeah.
So I started with the Beltway, and by the signs being on the highways and the news, it was like free advertisement, you know. So got off from there, started rapping. So I had a meeting at the library at Prairie View. Had about 60 rappers. Hey, I'm supposed to do this. I need everybody to come back to school with $100 each because I'm going to involve everybody. Nobody came back with the money. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to give them all CDs from the CDs because, again, I never sold dope, but I knew what I dope got because all my friends sold dope. So I'm from the CDs.
Some work, yeah.
Yeah, they finna come back with the money. Most of them ain't come back with the money. So, okay, no problem. I'm finna do this on my own, hit my own lick. And that's what I did. So I had in Prairie View, in school, I had about 3-4 cars already. So I sold one of my cars to buy some studio equipment. Then after that, I started selling them, and then guess what? We started buying more equipment, creating the sound, and that's how, it jumped out with the artists. So we got, out of 60-something, we ended up getting about 15 of the guys. And they, like I said, they was from all over the state, country, whatever the case is.
And this all came from that roundup you did from this?
Yeah, so we had to, the funny thing is we had to have the South Siders come in on one day, and the North Siders come in on one day. And they finally said, you know what? That's the whole purpose of the Beltway, to bring everybody together, So
was it strategic to the way you picked them, or was it just like?
Yeah. Reason being is because anything I get myself involved in is always competition, whether it's, business, whatever the case is. But I'm like, okay, well, I got to find the best artists that can freestyle better than the Switcher House and the SUC, right? So I got guys like AY, Bubba Love, JB, Big Win, such and such. So after you hear them, their voice, and get to know their voice and their style, then you start putting them in the booth with each other. Okay, you go first because your voice is this, and it's a build up or a drop off, right? And so that's how I did. And then the ones that wasn't really good, you'll feel a rapper. I'm just gonna fill you in here, whatever case it's just so it's like football team. Your parents here, they want to hear you, see you play.
Yeah.
Y'all don't put them out there in the last couple of minutes and let the boy get a little shine on. But other than that, it was a core of them that was who it was.
Yeah. So man, okay. Y'all start doing these tapes, you getting these crews, everybody starts getting their name, Beltway becomes a thing. Or y'all start to do shows and moving around, and like when do you start? Because now, you got to kind of start learning the business now. You talking about artists and all of this. Like when do you start kind of learning the music business side?
So we started doing, that was where Jaleel came in at. Jaleel was on the road, so he's an earpiece in the streets. So hey, look, let's go do a show up in Longview, Uptown. Let's go to Tyler. So he flooded the East Texas market. So we started doing a bunch of shows up in that area, whatever, Arkansas, And then from that point, it was beneficial for me to have someone like a Jaleel and Emory Davis and DJ Stanford, because those guys took care of increments of business that I ain't had time to do. My deal was go deal with the Southwest, because by this time, me, Hollywood from Top Ranks, and Jaleel came out with an album together, Found the Youth, that we all put in together on this compilation. So now I'm dealing with Southwest, and you hear stories about Southwest being crooks and this, whatever the case is, right? So I'm having to deal with a big monster.
So that was kind of the word that you were hearing, that they weren't really because you hear Southwest, like they did a lot for the South, you know what I mean?
Well, again, let me tell you why they call them crooks. Most people that call people crooks don't know the business. So when you can't add as a track, they got to be cheating me, and that's what it was, So I'm young, I'm 26 years old, trying to figure out this music business, don't have no class, anybody coaching me. So I'm having to figure out the savageness. But again, like to me, business is business. So I go off in Southwest, and hey man, they treated me like the king. Me and Robert Gillum became the best of friends. It got to a point to where Mama Lo was the gatekeeper. So all the other label owners sitting on the couch, smelling like weed, can't get upstairs and go see Robert or Karen. And of course, I already put $500 in Mama Lo's pockets. 'Cause every time somebody a chopped album, I tell her, hey, you give me a chopped album, I'll put $500 in your pocket. So we already wet, you know what I'm saying? So when I come in, go ahead, Darryl want to see you, such want to see you. We had that kind of rapport. So one day, I think it was Hollywood from Tyler. He's like, man, Mike Mo, won't you tell the motherfucker to give me your stuff, whatever, right? And I'm like, damn, y'all been in the game a long time, Probably ain't got that juice or whatever. But the thing is that we were young in college. We were just trying to find out, and I think they took a liking to us because we were college students. And that's how it was. So, Southwest Wholesale, man, I'm telling you, treated me like no other.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, tell me what kind of happens next with the label and everything, man? What kind of happens next with the label? Like, I mean, y'all got Southwest distribution.
Yeah, we got Southwest distribution. We're moving. Of course, we're selling Selecto hits, but that's coming through Southwest. We're selling through Gonzalez, which is coming through Southwest. And so now we're looking at.
Wait. Break that down to me. You going through Southwest and through Gonzalez and Selecto?
Yeah. So when I sold my albums to Southwest, Southwest would distribute to Selecto Hits and Gonzalez. So when I get my reports, whatever the case is, it shows me how many Selecto Hits sold, how many Gonzalez sold, and of course Southwest. So once we doing this, we move, we got momentum going, and then 9/11 hit. And when 9/11 hit, it tore everything up.
Yeah.
So I get a phone call from somebody at Southwest. I think it was Derek Diggs. Hey man, come get your product, because they about to shut this place down. So I fly up there and I see Robert come across the door. They had a sign saying they closed the inventory. And they say, no, you can't come in, whatever. I said, we're doing inventory. So Robert seen me at the door. He said, let him in. So I go in the room with Robert. We're having a private conversation. He's like, hey man, what's going on? He said, man, this and that. I won't go in particulars about the things he told me. I said, well, I know you got a plan B. He's like, man, I'm just trying to get through plan A. And when I tell you, we went from this to boom, that was it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I talked to I've had Robert on, and he's told me, how, they ended up losing, I forgot how much money within that, because, I mean, you lose these accounts and stores, and, I mean, that's pretty much it when you're talking about distribution, man.
Well, I know the number because he told me the number, but I won't discuss it.
It was like somewhere like $1 million or something crazy like that. I don't really remember the exact number, but it was.
I'm leave it at that.
Or one particular store. It was something. I forget. He told me. I don't really remember the exact, but I know it was a lot of money.
Yeah, he lost bad, and the thing I lost a lot of money. But I felt more bad for him, because Robert really is a great guy.
Yeah.
And and what he built for that to happen. Sure, it's easy for me to recover, get back out there and start up again, but how hard it is for him, Not only that, but to gain the trust, and then also remember there's rumors being said this, and that. So now you got to defend this, and it's like, man, come on. But again, it came from people that didn't know the business, so it is what it is.
Yeah. And, one thing with, I think I've had some people were saying that kind of through Southwest, that's kind of how a lot of like the Southern music made it overseas, you know what I mean? So, I mean, talk about that. I'm sure the Beltway ACDs made it to like the Japans and the...
So we didn't sell CDs through, we sold CDs through Southwest overseas, but I actually had a direct connect to a guy that actually worked at Dope House Records that did international music sales. So for some reason, he could never get in touch with people like Lil Troy to do the Mass 187, redo of that, or a cliche album, whatever the case is. So I was the guy that could go to each one of them and say, hey, look, here goes $7 for each one of the albums. Okay, bet. And the whole time, I put my dollar on there and I make my money off of it. Okay, so I was kind of had my hands in a lot of things, as far as managing other folks, even catalogs, whatever the case is.
Was this the Screwston thing?
So I did when Carlos went to prison, Southport Mexico, we were doing Screwston together. And then when he went to prison, I ended up taking over Screwston Records, being a partner with Arthur Carter. So we started doing the Screwston series, and then me and Arthur had a disagreement, and then we kind of killed that, so. But Arthur's, again, great guy. Just one of those kind of things, man, the time and manner was everything. Everybody was just scratching, trying to find a way, because again, we had it so good that we don't know which way to turn right now, And Selecto Hits, great company, but it wasn't Southwest. Gonzalez, great company, but not Southwest, So, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So I mean, how do you end up, kind of shaking back out of there? Because you still stay in the game for a while,
Yeah. So what I ended up doing is finding me a new crew of guys, right? And so I started making it about Mike Most instead of putting Beltway on the CD. So,
okay, you said new crew of guys. What happened with the other crew? Was that like? Were they...
Honestly, we blew them up too fast. When in the beginning I told them, I said, look, y'all gonna rap, but I would prefer for you to always think about being a businessman. And here's why. JB was from College Station. JB, you can go back to College Station, open up a record store.
Be the man.
And we can funnel it that way, right?
Yeah.
Bubba, you from Crockett. Or if you're gonna go to Dallas, whatever, we can do it this. So that was my thing, but they fell into that rap thing. And from that, it just took on a whole new life. And So what everybody thought the money was there based on what their talents was, it wasn't there because the record sales for them wasn't there yet. We making money off of underground CDs and compilations. I'm doing with Toe Down and Chevis and all the rest of the things. So we getting songs from this piece to this thing, doing stuff with Billy Cook and everybody else.
Y'all did talk about because I had my boy Big Rich on here, man, with the Pharaoh project.
So we did the Pharaoh album. We did the Pharaoh album in one day.
Okay, talk about that because Pharaoh is just he's just a mystery within. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Pharaoh comes to Prairie View, and Rich said, "Hey, look, Mike, we want to get down there, get to the studio, whatever the case is." Rich, I love Rich because Rich is a good guy. Come on down, we'll get this knocked out. So I told everybody from the Beltway, I said, look, come on over. We had a garage studio, TVs, places.
Wait, so Beltway was stationed in Prairie View?
Yeah. So we had a studio house in Prairie View in Alta Vista, and I had a record store in Prairie View on University Drive, Sandra Bland Parkway.
Yeah. So you just chose to stay there just because it was like, shit, this is where we kind of made our bread and butter, or what was the reason for staying
I
there?
won't say it because I still got something to do in Prairie View, but no, it was because it was just honestly the love of the black community. I mean, it was black, so it's like, why not,
Yeah.
And not only that, I had, I kind of, young thinking or whatever. Can I say young thinking? But I'm okay. Jay Prince, he run, Houston. I'm gonna run Prairie View.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do. Jay, you do that. I'm gonna do this. So, but that's that's one of the reasons. But also too, I was involved in the community. I was ran for city council twice. I was part of the Chamber of Commerce, athletic committee, parks committees, whatever. Okay, so I was heavily involved in the city, official wise. So my goal was actually run for mayor, and that's what I plan on doing once I do this curve, is go back to Prairie View and run for mayor. But yeah, so that's why I love Prairie View so much, man. It felt like home.
Yeah. So the Pharaoh tape. Pharaoh.
Yeah. So we get to the Pharaoh studio. So Pharaoh comes. He wired up. Get off from there. Big Baby was our producer. They popped the record button on, and dude did not stop rapping. It went from one beat to the next beat to the next beat. And I'm talking about probably with about a 2-hour span, the album's done. I mean, when I say done. And so, but it was one song in particular Pharaoh did. He was talking about this stripper named Knox. The season of Knox. I'm like, so after we got through the session, everybody like, let's go to whatever the strip club was on West Park. Let's go to the strip club and see this chick named Knox. Walked off from there. Everything he said about this woman was she was a goddess. He wrote a song about this chick named Knox, man.
No shit.
Yeah, that album was done in 2 hours, man.
That's crazy. Has anybody ever came through like that? Did y'all? How many other tapes did y'all do like that?
So we did the Back to Ball and Freestyle album.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We did the Back to Ball and Slowed and we call it Edit and Chop album with LaTroy. Watts was supposed to do it. Didn't get it done. So Troy called and said, "Hey man, can you get it done within a day's time?" Yeah, but it's gonna cost you, So Troy pulled up, brought the album to us. Next day we had it done, So then come down there, of course, with Youngster, Flex, and Zero. We knock out some freestyles with that.
How was that, man?
Oh man, it was cool, because now I didn't know Zero, but of course I knew of Zero because I, being a music fan, Gorilla Mob, the first one he did with Fisher.
Classic. Rise.
So Flex, I didn't know Flex. Youngster, of course, I knew Youngster from his success. Plus Youngster went to
from
West.
The West, yeah.
So. But yeah, so that was I mean, as the position that I was in, I was still amazing. Like, hey, that's such and such. That's pretty cool. But that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But who else? It's been a ton of folks that came down there, man, and did songs.
Are there any sessions that just really stand out from that time?
Yeah, the PSK 13, Something to Lean To. So we did the Something to Lean To. I get the chills when I talk about that one. So the Something to Lean To album was a freestyle album pretty much. And when LaTroy's album came out, Back to Ballin', all you heard on the seawall was LaTroy and that damn PSK Something to Lean To. And so that took us from night to day. That's why I say it blew up so fast, because again, we didn't know nothing about Southwest Wholesale. So PSK come down there. I met PSK at Fox's Strip Club. I'm out
Fox's,
from there.
Right? Yeah.
So me and my partner Asana, we off from the Fox's because what we're doing, we got the slow down chop R&B CDs. So we giving it to all the strippers. Hey, Jan, this of course you got the Beltway tag.
Beltway ain't slowed down. Them RBCs, classic, boy. God
So
damn.
I walked through the door. I'm like, because as a kid, I'm a big fan of PSK, Reckless Clan, the whole 9 yards, right? Hey man, you PSK? Like, yeah, what you do? And I told him I did. He said, no shit. He say, man, Watts won't do my album. We just won't get it done in time. Same story. And I'm like, oh, we can do it. How much you gonna charge? So I told him. He said, shit, we'll be down there. Whatever it was. Man came down there. We got us some drinks and shit. That shit went off. And I'm talking about when I tell you it's a classic. I mean, it blew up.
Yeah.
So that's what took the Beltway boys from.
Just PSK stuff. And then you had mentioned the Kappa because Watts had the Kappa tapes, but y'all had them Kappa tapes too, man. Talk about just how the Kappa played a part in y'all's success and just the impact that had on the culture and everything.
Before Beltway, I used to always go to the Kappa anyway, and so we stayed at the Victorian condos. So the Victorian condos was the shit that was like stars and shit want to come to, right? So we used to have women on the front of the patio with the clothes and stuff in it. So the guys that work for the city, they come and snapping pictures. That was years before Beltway. So Beltway now is involved. Of course, I still know all the people from the hotel. So I say, hey, look, we're gonna make songs about the Victorian suites. So we make songs about the Victorian suites, the whole experience from start to going down to the Kappa, to the hotel, to what goes on in hotels. And the shit just becomes an instant classic. We had one called Candyland. Now head to the Kappa, 4 screens in a gallon, 5 screens in a gallon. So these things that we were putting out, but it backfired on us because now the Victorian blew up. Now we can't park like we wanted to park. We can't do this shit no more. You got to pay to get in the gate.
Yeah. So they ain't show y'all no love after that, like man.
They showed some love, but what happened was I forgot the guy's name. He came. He was a promoter, good guy. He come down there promoting, so he kind of bogart the boulevard, right? So now everything costs because he got to contract these folks. They can't do nothing. So, but we used to have Galveston Police Department in our rooms. Because we had 2 room suites. In our rooms, drinking and smoking weed.
No shit.
When they were security guards for us at no cost. We had strippers off in there, the whole 9 yards. I forgot the name. It was Split Second TV.
Split Second, yeah. Oh yeah.
Split Second was off in there.
You brought me back, boy. Yeah, Split Second, damn.
So we was off in there. So the police is at the front door, like, whatever. If I balked, you got cuffs on, But man, we had a good time. So we used to feed them, right? Lobsters, all kind of shit for them.
Are you cooking back then and shit?
Nah, I mean, I'm cooking, but not really cooking.
Yeah.
I'm just putting stuff together, whatever the case is. I ain't really paying attention to it. I'm on that. But nah, we had food, weed, drink, everything for them. So, but now they showed love, but just couldn't get that gate like we wanted to.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man. Okay, so we were talking about the just bouncing back after the Southwest Wholesale crash and all that. Like, where did you go? As far as, because at this point, do you say, okay, well, I'll just, do it myself,
So at this point now, Mike Moe, the CEO, has to come from behind that desk, and I got to go out there and grind, because now I got this house, I got this, I got that.
You got to make sure this thing stay afloat.
So what we did was like, okay, well, a guy named Skiggy, Glock 9 from Carverdale, he could do all work and he could rap, and, make beats and all kind of. Then we had Dibadai, which could sing, Young Clint, and then we had Tristan. Tristan's name was Tristan at first. Then we had I called him Big Third out of Third Ward. So I gave him the name Big Third. So now we moving around together, and so Glock made some artwork that gave me a new hope. Like, okay, we can crank this thing back up, right? So we jumped into it, man, and started. I went to pull some files, so I pulled my files from Southwest. And so I took a map and put it on the wall and started tacking where our CDs were sold at. And when I finished drawing it out, it like a shark. So I'm like, okay, we finna do a shark tour. And I'm like, what's that? We finna go to all these cities across the country and sell these CDs. So basically, I come from behind the desk. We put about 5,000 CDs in the back of this tour van, and we can't come home until they gone. And we gone for a month on the road, hustling. We go from Houston, Fort Worth, Wichita, Texas, Loudon, Oklahoma City, Joplin, Missouri, Kansas City, Omaha, Nebraska, Toledo, Ohio, Rockford, Illinois. We everywhere. And when we get close to about 1,000 seeds left, we start breaking the trip back down because we'll get rid of these. I mean, I had to pinpoint it. We'll get rid of about 200 of them here, about 150 here. Probably gonna be too much here, but here and there. And shit, we come back home with it. And then it was so good because everybody was eating good. So what we do, we take about 2 weeks off. Not say off, but re-up and hit that shit right back again. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Talk about a grind, man.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Yeah.
It was sweet. So, but at this point in time, it's about the music, but it ain't really about the music. We hustling now.
Yeah.
Because Southwest gone, the platform that we stood on with Southwest for the South anyway, it's gone. People now going into a major deal like Switch House with Mike Jones, and everybody started getting these major deals or whatever the case is, right? Not saying they was forced into it or whatever the case is, but that's the best case scenario right now. Being that Southwest is out, and everybody wasn't hustling like we was hustling, so we were taking underground albums that people never, guys people never heard of, or people that people heard of, and just taking them all across the country, on the mixes. So.
And you still moving out of PV? Still.
Now, by this time, I left Prairie View. I ran for city council twice. They cheated me out of the seat. Basically told me, Mike, we like you, but next time run with us and you'll win. So when they told me, I said, I tell you what, I'll come back to Prairie View when y'all die, when all y'all dead. So I packed up and gave my record store to one of my guys, Mo B. I let him have the record store. And I shut the studio down, moved back to Houston, opened up an office on 2626 building, and started all over again.
So what about, because it was we were talking about studio with Jamaican Mike. Talk about that, man.
Okay, that was UNI Records.
Yeah.
Over off of Bensonette. So back in the days, I used to rap with Big Mike. Not say rap, I'm sorry. I was the producer, so to say, with Big Mike that went to rap.
Okay, see, this is what I was asking about with the music, though. Is you were doing football at this time and still kind of on the side? Like, okay, well, I linked up with Big Mike.
So me and Big Mike hooked up between my homeboy Big Roo from Jack Yates.
Okay.
I'm rapping it just in the neighborhood. So Big Roo from Yates say, I want to hook you up with my homeboy Big Mike. Big Mike was at Yates, I think. So my dad dropped me off at his grandmother's house. I had to wait like 3-4 hours. I'm in 8th grade. I'm just coming out of 8th grade. So get over to Mike's house and he got a keyboard. I'm playing on the keyboard, but I really don't know what I'm doing.
You in 8th grade? Wait, where's Big Mike in his career? Something
no,
serious?
it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing. It was
no
just,
convicts, nothing.
None of that. It wasn't no album.
Just kid in the neighborhood rap.
Yep. So Big Mike over there. So I'm supposed to be rapping too. So he called me Money Making Mike. But again, when Big Mike started rapping, I'm like, man, ain't no way I can compete with that nigga rapping. So I'm the producer now, right? But his girlfriend would come over and they go upstairs and I'd be downstairs fucking around with computer shit. And then finally one day he came to me and said, hey man, I got in contact with me. They want to sign us. I'm like, shit, they must want to sign you because they ain't heard me, right? And I'm saying to myself, ain't no way I can rap better. So I made an excuse. Man, I ain't going to rap a lot. They gonna cheat me, right? That's shit you hear, right? Again, when you don't know the business, only thing you can chalk it up to is they cheating, right? So I'm going to 9th grade now that summer. Going to the fall. 10th grade, I'm riding down the street with a friend of mine from high school. We getting out of football practice. Turn the radio on. This is for the convicts. And I recognize shit. I'm like, turn that shit up. Turn it up. I said, man, go to the record store. Go to the record store. And that was Big Mike and 3-2 on the fucking album. I was sick to the motherfucker. But I was cool, not sick, like jealous wise, but like, damn,
That was it for real.
That was it. It really was a call, right? So by this time, Smooth Rhyming Criminal Records is coming up.
That's what I was gonna say because I know Big Mike and Tony Draper had that relationship.
Yeah.
So is that how you link up with Draper through that?
Nah, see, Draper, I ain't know Draper at first. I know Draper's person that financed Swarf House is my big brother in the hood, right? That's my OG, right? So as a kid, they looked out for me. Whatever I needed, they said, man, if you want a car, go get your car. We're gonna pay for it. Because I'm playing football. I'm balling, right? But they would never let me sell dope. And they told me, little Mike, rest of these niggas ain't got a chance. Like they gotta sell dope. You can play the ball and get up out of here. We're gonna take care of you. So whatever you want, we got you. Anyway, so Smooth Rhyming Criminal Records is now coming up. They come out with an album, and then they changed the name to Swarf House. And that's when they told me, go to UNI Records and go record a song. I go over there, record a song. So I'm rapping about another nigga from the hood, right? So I give, I ain't gonna say his name. I give him the tape. He say, nigga, you went over to the studio and rapped about another nigga. Man, get this shit out of here. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this rap shit. You know, I really don't think I really can rap, you know. And I ended up going to Iowa, and he told me, say, hey, man, whatever you do, I got you. You know, just, you know, stay in contact with me. By the time he got locked up, and he did 18 years, you know. So when I came home from school after all that, he was still locked up, you know. So, but yeah, but anyway, saying to say this is that there was one time I had to go pick Draper up, and Draper probably don't remember this. I had to go pick Draper up and drop him off at the studio over there where, I forgot the name, Penny Pixel used to be at, one of them warehouse things over there. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go off in there and rap, because, you know, I'm like, hey man, turn the shit on, let's rap and go. You know, in the studio, you gotta wait a little time, you gotta settle, you know. Man, I told Draper, I said, I'll be right back. I burnt off and left, you know. But of course, you know, shit, Draper did what he did. So I think it's kind of like a good luck. Everybody left, you know, they walked around and got it right. Yeah. So anyway, saying to say this is that's how I ended up with the Swap House situation.
Man, okay, so you're traveling around back to you know, you're going on in the van, you know what I'm saying, going on a tour, you setting this up. What do you do after that? Like, how do you just continue to just be like, man, I'm just gonna put out CDs, I'm hustling, I'm doing like.
So at this time, I'm doing all this traveling across the country.
And and at the same time, not to cut you off, are you thinking about getting out the game at this time? Like, is this when the entrepreneur thing start thinking like, maybe I need to start doing a few other things, or are you still in the music at this time?
At this point, it's a lost cause. So now I'm going on the road. The money's good, but I'm watching my daughter do this, right? So I'm also looking at like, oh man, is it really worth it, you know? And also too, I knew the music business after Southwest was gonna crash. So it's almost like, you know, you got this parachute, you falling, when you gonna pull your parachute, right? So finally one day I say, man, I'm done, you know? And everybody like, what? I call Hollywood from Top Rank Records again. I said, I'm gonna sell barbecue ribs. He say, nigga, you gonna miss out on all this to sell barbecue ribs? Like,
what year is this? Do you say this?
Probably 2009, 2008. So I'm done. So for me to be totally done, I had to do something to really gonna solidify me being done. So I took the tour van, I sold it to Showtime. I had a warehouse full of CD machines. I sold to Showtime, gave one on to Cal Wayne. I just sold everything. So that way, once I cross that bridge, I can't look back and go play no more. You got to go forward now. So what I did was I started honing my craft on the food side. So now I'm selling. I put on Facebook. Hey, I got real. I'm selling potato casserole, whatever case. So people buying it. It ain't the same amount of money, but I got some traction. And then at some point, I just kind of left everything alone. For 3 years, I stayed in the house and just went what I call a dog tunnel, and just found myself, found out who I was, started reading self-help books. So I read 40 books in like 1 year, and then started, coming back up. So I started, once I read books, then I started writing a book. So I came out with a book called Cheat to Save Your Marriage. And I came out with another book called Sad Little Girl.
Okay, wait. We can't skip past this Cheat to Save Your Marriage. You got to talk about this, man.
So I wrote a book called Cheat to Save Your Marriage. So one day my wife left and went to work. So I'm laying in bed and one of my homegirls called me. She got to talking, and she said something that was fly. I said, wait, are you trying to make me cheat to save my marriage? I said, oh, that's a book. So I went upstairs, typed it in my computer, just, my notes, things I'm going to do. And so I kept on playing with it for about a year, then, wasn't sick. I mean, I wasn't no book writer or whatever the case is. So one day, I used to go to Loyola University every year with Carol Guest and Benny Diggs. Carol Guest is my partner in a program that we did in the music business. And Benny Diggs was my partner also. So we would get paid to go to Loyola University and talk to the kids about music. So one day we're at the Royal Hotel. It's bored, nobody's talking. I told the kids, I said, watch this. I'm writing a book, y'all, it's called Cheat to Save Your Marriage. Because every time I say the title, everybody like, what is that? And the whole table just lit up. And that's how I'm like, Mike, you really got something. You need to get out here and run with it. So I finished the book, wrote it before, I was on TV shows.
So Cheat to Save Your Marriage, I mean, what is this based off of? Is this a fictional book, or is this just something like also like based off life experiences? And just...
So basically, I mean, it's a real book about the people I did interviews with that was cheating. And basically what it did was, when you was cheating, it created a balance in the relationship. What you ain't doing, somebody else is doing, so the weight ain't on you, right? Versus you ain't doing all the weight on you, right? And so what happened, I would go around, interview people that was married, of course, never, confidentiality agreements. They told me their story, and then, sure enough, put it out. And so people started reading this book like it's real. Matter of fact, I called a marriage counselor from River Oaks, prestigious woman in that arena, counseling-wise. I said, hey, look, is this real? She say, yeah, it's real. I say, well, would you write, in my book? She's like, hell no, you're not going to destroy my practice, based off your book. She said, your book is real, but I can't do it. So at that point, I'm like, okay, it's really real. So I put it out, man, and boom, and it was gone. So right now it still sells.
It's on Amazon and all that?
It's on Amazon, yeah. Barnes & Noble, all the stuff, whatever case is. I don't even check the sales on it. That's one of my retirement things. So how much money in the car, I don't know, But at the end of the day, it's real.
Yeah. So you do the book in between time. When do you actually start the restaurant?
So I started the restaurant in 2011.
Okay, sidebar. I had Eugene here yesterday, Eugene Brooks, and he was saying that you took a job somewhere to learn the restaurant business, I want to say.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So a buddy of mine from Prairie View opened up a restaurant in Pearland called Jake's Grill. So just so happened that day, I went to a barbecue place and asked the guy, I said, man, let me volunteer to work here so I can learn how to He's like, nah. I said, okay. So I'm down. I got the business plan and everything together. So I'm down, riding back down 518. And then Henry Davis hit me. He said, hey, man, Mike, want to come over have a beer with us? John just bought this restaurant in Prairie View. I'm like, nah, man, I'm cool. I'll get back with y'all later. So I go up under 288. And I'm like, what you say? He said, John just bought this restaurant. Okay, but I'm on my way. So I turned around, go up there and told John, I said, John, let me tell you, if you just let me work here for free or $2, let me, sell me. He said, yeah, bring your sauces. You can have sauces for barbecue. Bring sauce we can use for the wings, whatever the case is. So he allowed me to work there, and I learned the business, and then I started selling the baked potatoes there. The baked potatoes started being the #1 seller. So at that point, I'm like, oh, this shit on, And then a whole year I worked there for free. And then after I was done, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I learned everything to learn. 1 week later, it closed down. So it's almost like it was heaven sent. Like, I put this in position for you to do this.
To know that this is real.
And then as soon as I was done, it was gone. Just like that.
Man, so then you said, okay, well, I'm going to start.
I went back home and started selling out the house again. And then after that point, I started doing a little pop-up stuff, this pop-up thing, and did it on Alameda. And when I did that, shit just blew up. And so I have a Vietnamese business partner, right? So, but he was my best friend before, any of this. Me and him were activists in the community at the time. Me and him the one that worked on this. Well, I'm the one that started the Sandra Bland campaign in Prairie View.
Okay.
And he is an activist also in the community, So I told him, I said, hey, hi. He was in California at the time with his son, this school. I say, look, when you get a chance, check out the Sandra Bland thing. He said, okay, because he's an advocate, reader, researcher, right? So he checked it out. He's like, yeah, Mike. I said, when you get back to Texas, we need to meet because this is something really big. So he get back, he goes to I probably go to TSU with him at this panel about the Sandra Bland situation. I couldn't make it because I'm trying to open up my little pop-up thing. I said, well, how you go ahead and go, and then when I get done with this restaurant thing, I'll come over there, we'll push the notes together. So he called me the night after it was over. He said, man, the kids were mad because the elders wouldn't allow them to speak. So he said, but this one guy, he spoke so elegant. He's a bald-headed guy with a... And I knew exactly who he was talking about. I don't know how. I'm like, you talking about Dwayne Charleston. Yeah, that's him, right? He said, man, this guy here is unbelievable. I said, you want to meet him? He said, you think? I said, man, make a phone call. Dwayne Charleston, I know from Prairie View. So we go to Prairie View, meet at Boo Breaker's Barbecue, which is, Dwayne Charleston family thing. We sat at the table, came up with a plan, and boom, went on the Sandra Bland attack. And the rest of it is history.
That's what's up.
So.
That's what's up. So, man, all right, you got the stuffed baked potato factory going. You open it up. Tell me, some of the things you learned in, the trial and errors of getting into the restaurant business.
Restaurant business.
I know it's a lot. I had friends of mine who got into it, and they told me, like, man,
Now, the restaurant business is real. I mean, I love it because, I'm built for it. So, like, when challenges happen, whatever the case is, like, okay, let me see how I'm going to knock that down, and I knock it down. The hardest thing about the restaurant industry for me is dealing with some of the employees. Find the right employees to buy into what you're doing. Basically, putting people in position. But again, it's not hard for me because I've always done it on the football field, bringing people together. In the music business, bringing people together, whatever the case is. So every once in a while, you're gonna get some wild shit to go on, whatever the case is. But other than that, when you really concentrate, you got the plan together, or not necessarily the plan, but know how to adjust the plan. I call it crisis management. When shit go down, it's like, oh, that went down. Okay, like somebody, well, that happened 3-4 times. Somebody broke into the back of the building and tore all shit up trying to get up in there, right? I'm like, damn. I get a phone call at 6-7 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Mike, somebody came here, whatever the case is, right? I'm like, so I'm looking at the camera like, damn. So mind you, my mindset is we got to be open for 11 o'clock, right? Get on the phone. Hey, go over there, pick this up, go over there, do this, go over there, clean this up, whatever the case is, patch all this shit up. That one day, open 30 minutes later. Other than that, I'm saying. So those are, you don't want that to happen, but those are challenges that you go through, whatever the case is. Now the business side of whatever the case is, I got a great team. My partner, he handles this, I handle this. Mr. Brooks, he worked well with us as well. He handles this, whatever the case is, and Ms. Jackie, she handles that. Oldest handles that, and guess what? It just works. And then what that does, it allows me to be able to go out, create more opportunities and more concepts for us to open up, and then eventually just sell all that stuff. Yeah. So that's, it's a hard business. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it's really easy.
Are you enjoying? Well, of course, it's just what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. But are you having more fun with this, or do you still miss like Beltway, like the good days and all that?
I miss it, but I don't miss it. If that makes sense. I miss it because the things that the camaraderie that we had together, as guys, do I miss it where I want to go back into it in that manner? No. It's a young man's sport. I remember Big E from Chevy's, RP. I asked him one time when I was young in the game, hey, Big E, come over here, do what it. He's Mike, that's a young man game, right? I never knew what he was saying until I became an older man. I'm like, that's what Big E was talking about. So if I was ever to get back into it or whatever the case is, it would be from a distance, meaning that I'm going to find a young person like myself and consult them, fund them, and move that thing like it's supposed to be moved. I think I could have done better if I knew better. I could have done better if my mind was on, doing the right things versus walking around, trying to be Suge Mike, and basically creating enemies. So my thing was I went into it as a businessman, but I came out an animal. And that was the biggest thing. I'm like, man, I got to get out this shit. If not, I'm going to kill somebody or somebody going to kill me. And the thing about it, I'm like, man, that ain't what I signed up for. So when I walked away from it, I was like, stress was just gone. Yeah. So I miss it. It was like a drug. You just couldn't get off of it, I'm listening to music every night. I can do this. And you're like, Mike, finally, what happened? In the studio, your sound card go out, just replace sound card. Man, my sound card would never work again. I'm like, God, must be saying that. Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Leave it where it's at. Yeah. So, man, what's next for you, man? You got multiple locations with the stuffed baked potato, and you've accomplished, a lot on the independent side, man. Stuff that, shit, like I said, I always not envy, but for lack of a better word, envy, man. How y'all really just were able to just take advantage, man, and come up, in the southern region in that time frame, man, because it was just so good.
Yeah, it was a great time. I actually feel bad for the people that's in and out.
It's just not the same, man.
They don't get to experience that going out. Yeah, you're going, doing your shows, whatever the case is. But that grind, having to go hand to hand shake, stand in somebody's house that you just met that day, and cooking food. Because
we in town. Like, we in town, crashing over here tonight. Yeah.
That kind of thing. Those are things that are golden, dude, that you could never replace. So at the end of the day, right now, I watch the music business. I still watch it, because again, I want to see how it goes, how it moves, But for right now, man, my goals are to franchise, then sell it. I got other concepts, franchise, then sell it, and then move on to bigger things, So yeah, I just like business. It don't matter what it is. I ain't gonna say no matter what it is. If I have a passion for it, I'll do it. Somebody come to me and say, hey, look, this gonna make a bunch of money, and I don't care about it. I ain't
Can't
doing
rest with
it.
it. Yeah,
Nah,
you gotta feel it.
it's not
Is there anything that you aspire to like get into that you haven't touched yet?
Thing I want to get into that I haven't touched it. Nah, not really. You know, food wise, I'm in that. Well, I would say this. Yes, I want to open up my own manufacturing company to manufacture several different products. You know, whether it be food products or that kind of stuff. So what I kind of do is I buy like equipment now, put it in my storage place or whatever case, or in the house or whatever, and just play with it. You know, and what I do is that is because I'm a true believer in the law of attraction. You know, what you play with, what you touch, what you think, what you imagine, after a while it manifests itself to
Facts.
you. You know,
Facts.
so I buy this, buy that, or whatever case is, playing with it, and you know, just you know, hoping that knowing that one day it will come to fruition. So
Yeah.
but no, I just like I said, man, just easy going, man, staying out the way, and just loving life.
Yeah. Man, you got anything before we get up out of here, man?
Nah, man, I just like I said, appreciate you having me, and like I said, keep on doing what you're doing, man. 'Cause you got a good thing going.
Man, I appreciate you coming through, man. Like I said, Beltway 8, man. You can't talk about Texas hip hop, Houston hip hop, and not mention Beltway 8, man.
I appreciate that. Like I said, we put a lot of hard work, 300-something CDs underground. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Thank you again, man.
For
Appreciate
sure.
it.
And the potatoes, man. Y'all check out them potatoes. You ain't never checked out the potatoes, man. For real. Fire.
Yeah, we got over 60-something different potatoes, man.
But let's talk about, before we get out of here, let's talk about that because you have a very interesting, like it's all the combinations, you know what I mean? How you can really stuff that thing, man. Like,
So basically, I mean, being a chef and a barbecue pit master, so it's I just kind of come up with concepts. I watch food shows all day long, and I can see some. I'm like, okay, they need to tweak that this way, and I'll put on a potato, whatever, right? So what I did was on the road traveling across the country, I get a potato, that's too big or too small, not enough meat or whatever case. I'm like, so I created what I think I call the perfect potato. And basically just, you can add so much to it, trial and error, and check it out. But it's just certain things I can look at and like, that shit gonna go,
Right.
But there's still another phase to it I haven't released yet because there's no need to yet, because I want to make sure that I'm staying competitive in the market. And when someone tries to come out with some whatever cases, I can just, because again, I'm competitive. But no, just the combination coming over, man. People love it. And the ones that don't love, we just take them off the menu and keep on moving.
yeah. What's the most popular one, you would say?
The most popular one is the trash can.
Trash can.
How I came up with trash can, because at the end of the night, we would throw away all the meat that was left over in the bottom of the pan. So when I look at the trash can, I'm like, that's a lot of, meat, different meats, whatever. I'm like, I can come up with a potato with that, not with the old stuff.
Right. Just the concept.
But the concept of, just different meats. So I put 7 different meats together, and then I bought a container that kind of looked like a trash can, and that's how it came out.
Damn, 7 different meats. What we got on there?
So
Ribs?
you got brisket, sausage, ham. No ham, turkey, bacon, more sausage. What else? So I forget. There's about seven different ones. But and then you take that and you put cheese sauce on it on top of the shredded cheese, and then you hit it with some onions and jalapenos and then put that Moe's famous sauce on it.
Man, I'm
Then hit
hungry
that
right
sour
now,
cream
man.
on
Come
it.
on, man.
And then just dig in there and just let it happen.
Come on, man.
Yeah, just let it happen.
Man, I'm going to get me one tomorrow, man. That's what it is. It's Donnie Houston Podcast. Mike Mo, I appreciate you coming through, man, for real.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
Already. Hey, man, we out. Hey, listen, real quick. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, man. Turn your alerts on, you know what I'm saying? Hit the website, DonnieHoustonWorld.com. If you have some product that you want to do some sponsorship or something like that, email my manager, Dave at theheistagency.co. That's David at theheistagency.co. If you want to talk about some sponsorship opportunities or something like that. Hey, man, it's the Donnie Houston Podcast. Mike Mo, we out.